Okay, it's time for a quick tutorial on planetary interaction. First off, everybody's going to want to know what skills are involved. Command Center upgrades. This skill expand your command center, allowing you to have more assets. Planetary consolidation allows you to have more planetary colonies. Planetology gives you a better resolution on the resources that are on a planet. We'll see that in a minute. Remote sensing allows you to scan and assess your planets from further away, more jumps from the system you're targeting. Now, this happens to be a storm planet. Whatever planet you're going to go on to, whatever type it is, you need to have the command center for that planet type. Now, I'm in the tiny little Badger because the command center is actually 1,000 cubic meters. So that is, you need to have a ship that's big enough to accommodate that when you come. This big ugly thing here is your customs office. There'll be more on that in the next video. It's going to be both your friend and enemy through most of this. Now, viewing the planet in planet mode. Now, this planet I already know I'm going to be using to produce coolant. So with that in mind, it'd be nice to get one of the resources for coolant out of here. Ionic solution is one of the resources needed for coolant. Now, when I click on the ionic solution, you'll see that these faint blue bands have appeared. This tells me that ionic solution is best found here instead of here. This is a crappy planet for ionic solution, but it'll have to do. You click on other resources, you can see how the color scheme changes. It kind of runs off of a thermal pattern. So these green patches, and then these bright blue, and then these dull blue. The bright blue is going to have a higher concentration, green is going to be higher concentration yet. So you can see kind of where you want to put down your extractors for this. Now, going back to the ionic solution, I want to place my main command center between two bands, but not in the bands. The reason I don't want them in the bands is because the extractors actually have to be there instead. So I'm going to drop my command center right here next to the blue band. And then of course it's going to ask you if you want to submit. You can at this you can cancel, replace it if you want, but that's where I'm going to have mine. Now, as you can see, the command center has its power limitations, its CPU limitations, and its own storage space. Now, if you're planning on getting real serious with your planet, first thing you're going to want is a launch pad. That's going to make it easier to get your resources off the planet and cheaper. Well, you can't have a launch pad because it'll overload the CPU. But for your first planet, when you're still getting up the skills, you can actually launch from the command center. It'll be more expensive than launching from the spaceport, but it'll still get the job done. Now, processor, you're going to want a basic factory. Now, since I know I'm producing ionic solution, I can just come down into this, or not ionic solution, the coolant. Okay, I need an advanced factory to get that recipe. So coolant is what I'm going to be producing on this planet primarily. Electrolytes is going to come from the ionic solution. And water, I have tons of that sitting around elsewhere that I'm going to be bringing to here later. So I've set the advanced factory to produce coolant. And now I need to set this one to produce electrolytes. Now, an extractor control unit, I would place that up here on the edge of where that blue band is, and hit the submit. Now, you bring this up, and now here's where you actually build your extractor heads. Now, make as many as these as your base will handle, and for a starter base it's limited to 3. Now click submit, and that's ready to go. Now you open up this here, and now you can move your heads where you want them. And of course I want them up here in the blue band. Now you need to set this up for the ionic solution, and for running a 1 hour length program, here's what it's going to pull each one of the ticks. Now since I plan to not come and check on this but once a day, I'm going to run this up to 24 hours. And if you're watching carefully, you'll see that the circle around the extractor heads is actually getting bigger as I increase that. Now here's another thing to consider. Extractor heads, you can't have them too close. They'll start giving each other a penalty because they're pulling from the same area. So they need to be spread out as close as you can get them without them touching. And you can actually see as I'm moving this around that my outputs are changing. Now, general rule of thumb, the longer you have this running, the more less efficient it's going to get towards the end. That being said, if I ramp this all the way up to 14 days and then spread them out, you'll see it's starting out pulling 20,000 every 4 hours, and then it ends a whole lot less. See, 1,100 an hour versus 5,000 an hour. So the smaller time frame that you can do this and still be sure you're going to check on it in time, the better off you'll be. So that's why I do just 1 day cycles. And now that I got my extractor heads approximately where I want them, this would be a time where your planetary or planetology skill would be great, because it would give you more specific locations for your resources. But since I don't have that, this is ready to go. Now it's pulling the resources. Resources are going to be in this extractor control unit. Now we're going to create a link from this to the basic factory, and then open this back up and check on products, and then route this to the basic factory. Now this will just automatically send its resources as it gets them over to this basic factory, which is then going to turn them into ionic solution, which we then want to link to this advanced factory. And again, pull up the products and create route and send it to the advanced factory. Now it's sending them there. Now later, when I bring back some water, they're going to go into the command center, and then they would be here. I would create the link just like I did twice there, and then create the route sending the water to here, and then ionic solution, water, mix coolant. Or no, electrolytes and water, mix coolant. And then I would have this sending the coolant right back here so I can pull it off planet. So there is the demonstration for a coolant planet.